Hi guys, and hello from the hilltop. I'm Waxahachie Blue, and I want to welcome you to my channel, The Plateau Perfectionist. So today's video is my May 2021 plan with me. This is also my birth month, so this particular month is always extra special in my book, pun mildly intended. And so the theme for this particular month is the color green. So in case you don't know or you haven't seen my other videos, for the year 2021, I am doing a color challenge, is what I'm calling it. Basically, every month I do a different color. This particular color for this month is green, and while the first thing that came to mind to do was plants, I decided to kind of change it up, and so while I was looking through various images for kind of like a green aesthetic that wasn't necessarily plants, which if you happen to type in the words green aesthetic, most of the images that you get is plants. Something that did kind of come up that was different was a lot of green music, particularly this particular image here. The green piano was inspired by a image, I believe it's from the Magnolia something, the Joanna Gaines from Fixture Upper. She has that Magnolia brand. Anyway, apparently she has a green stand-up piano, which very much inspired me because I actually used to play piano when I was a child, and I still have a very great fondness for this particular instrument, not to mention music in general. So I decided to kind of use that as my inspiration for this month. So music is also the theme for the month of May. So as for my colors, hopefully you can tell by now it is green, but I kept my markers very, very simple. I only used Crayola Super Tip markers, primarily these two shades of green, which are kind of a jewel tone to them, as well as a couple of additional lighter and darker shades of green for certain spreads where I needed more than just the two colors. In the meantime, I also had bought myself some new pens. The particular white pen that you see me using is just, it's called a Sharpie S Gel. I think it's like a roller pen version of a Sharpie pen. I will say it gave me these very sketchy lines kind of almost naturally, so I just kind of went with that particular aesthetic with a lot of my outlining for this particular plan with me. However, some of it was not nearly as intentional as it might look. Every so often the pen would catch, and so I'd end up with this like blank space in my drawing outline anyway, so I just kind of went with it. In the meantime, something else that I also incorporated was just a couple of bits of washi, both of which I got off of Amazon, and a black washi that I got from the Daiso company. I will link what I can below, but if you can't find it, that's where you can find it. Oh, excuse me, I have a little bit of drainage. It is allergy season where I live, so if I sound kind of stuffed up, no, I am not sick. It is just allergy season. Oh, and I did use a gray just for kind of a little bit of an accent, just to add to some extra shading in certain places, just because I didn't want to just grab a whole nother marker. So, as I mentioned, I used to play piano when I was a kid, and I actually took about 12 years of piano. I'm very rusty now because I don't play nearly as much as I used to, but I can at least, tink out a couple of songs. Anything from Pachelbel Canon to Frozen's Let It Go. I can usually figure out a tune if you give me a minute or two to figure it out. But yes, I have spent many a year sitting on a, not necessarily green, but on a piano bench at a standing piano, learning piano. So I hope my love for the particular instrument does come through in my art. In the meantime, since I wanted this particular piano to be kind of front and center, I just kind of kept the the extra accents over on, on the top of the piano, because if you've ever had a stand-up piano, there's always something sitting on top of the stand-up piano. I kept them very simple, just a couple of simple plants. I did do a little bit of vegetation, just because it is green. But otherwise I kept everything very, very minimal. As for the quote page, I do want to give out a quick little shout out to my niece, Caitlin. She actually got me a black paged journal. They're not dotted pages, they're just plain Jane black pages. And so I decided to use one of I pulled a page out of it and used it for my quote page here, which the quote is actually from Joanna Gaines, the lady who has inspired the Magnolia line. I think it's called the Magnolia line. I actually haven't watched her show in a while. But I went ahead and wrote it out just because I wanted to kind of play with some fonts and stuff, and then I just glued it in here. A little cattywampus just to add a little bit of oomph. But it's up to us to choose contentment and thankfulness now, and to stop imagining that we have to have everything perfect before we'll be happy. And every so often I do find some pretty good quotes from just some normal folks. I consider the Gaineses fairly normal. Well, her husband's a little weird, but fairly normal. And I liked that particular phrase, so I decided to incorporate it. I also used a little bit of black washi here on the edge, since I cut off that to make that little Dutch door here, to write the word May. These particular letters didn't turn out as well as I hoped, and the part that actually bugged me the most is I thought I gave them plenty of time to dry, and then after I had already transitioned to the next page, as I was doing my final flip through, I realized that some of the white gel pen stuck to my black paper on the other page. Oh well, live and learn, mistakes happen. So on underneath this particular Dutch door here, I went ahead and did my 2-page calendar. I made the Saturday and Sundays smaller than the rest of the week, mostly because I have found that I am not nearly as busy on Saturdays and Sundays. I usually just have maybe 1 to 2 things that I need to write down on these days. To be fair, I don't actually use this calendar all that much, hence why I made it a little smaller by using the Dutch door. Not just because it's totally cool looking. But yeah, that's one reason. If you've noticed in my past couple videos or so, my 2-page calendar part is usually very simple, and then I will add accents with like a drawing or stickers or washies. But the calendar itself is usually just very, very simple. I have very minimal, and so here I just added some lines for the weeks, and then just kept with my black S-Gel pen here. And there you go, that's the calendar. I did use just a few plant stickers. Since I was doing so much drawing on the piano and some of the other art, that I did on some other pages, I didn't necessarily want to do a lot of drawing plant-wise, so I just used some plant stickers because I had an abundance of plant stickers. So this particular spread is my mood tracker. This was actually inspired by a tracker I found on Instagram. I'm so sorry, I cannot remember the name of the lady who inspired me for this particular spread. I will link her Instagram in the description, because as well as on my Instagram page when I show this page, she's gonna get credit. I'm sorry, I'm one of those people, I like to give credit where credit is due. So her particular spread had just all black lines, whereas mine, I decided to do colored lines. Each colored line represents a particular mood, and then as the days progress, I will draw a note on whatever line I am feeling of that particular mood. Her mood tracker is set up slightly different, but she was the main inspiration for the spread, so mad props to that lady. I also totally butchered drawing these treble clefs. I haven't had to draw a treble clef in many a moon. And I do know that my lines don't quite match what it actually would look like on a sheet of music, but I'm not perfect. I scribble and it becomes art. This is my logic. I did try to give just a little bit of an homage to music, and that some of the notes on the word mood tracker are actually on the line or space that they would be in an actual sheet of music. So like C, tracker, TRAC is middle C. Aha! Ha! I'm such a nerd. So yeah. I just made some bars here. I actually separated them out so I had 1 week's worth of note spaces for each music line, and I made it look fancy. I think it's fancy. Oh, something else that I did also use was a white Jelly Roll pen, just a plain Jane white Jelly Roll pen. Some of it looks better than others, but there you go. So this next spread here, since everything was kind of a music-y theme here, I decided instead of doing a walk and yoga like I did in my April spread, these particular little calendars work great for my dot system to kind of mark what I've done. So I'm also trying to practice meditation at least a little bit every day. I've already gotten into the yoga, and that does include some meditation, but I am trying to add to that in some respects. It is very therapeutic, and it keeps me, well, for lack of a better term, grounded and centered. However, sometimes I do like to switch it up, and so I made this little spread on whether I decided to listen to music or if I decided to do a meditation, guided or otherwise. Sometimes I will do a meditation that has music with it. But I don't really count that because it's usually just background relaxation type tunes, so not actual jam out tunes. So anyway, that's what this particular spread is, and then I just covered up the little bicycle image with some extra stickers, slapped some washi tape on it. I kept this particular spread very simple because that's all I really needed it to be. In the meantime, these stickers I think I just got off of like AliExpress and or Wish, so just Google flower stickers and that's pretty much what you'll find. Alright, on to the next spread. The 2-page rolling total that I did in April really worked wonders for me. I have tried to keep my rolling total budget tracker to just a 1-pager. I run out of space every time, even sometimes when I do a no spend month, just because I have so many bills due or something will happen. So I've just given up and decided to do a 2-page rolling total probably for the rest of the year. This time I just kept it very, very minimal. I just wrote the rolling total here down at the bottom with the 2 different colors of green and made it kind of look very similar to what I did on my mood tracker. And then if I need to, I will add some color later on. But yeah, just keep it simple. I mean, this is just meant to track monies, not necessarily look horribly pretty. So since the weeks of May kind of fall a little different, there's not necessarily a full week at the beginning, nor is there one at the end. I decided to add an additional quote page here, which is music is life, that's why our hearts have beats. And draw a little metronome here. I made it green just like the piano. And then for this particular week, quote unquote, is just the 2 days, the Saturday and the Sunday, the 1st and the 2nd, because if you've watched any of my other videos, you will notice that I don't do my weeks, full-fledged weeks. I do them by month, so that's why this particular quote unquote week only has 2 days. Just because I like to finish a month, you know, and not get stuck in that transition period where, you know, one month blurs into another month. I want to just move on to the next month. I get tired of looking at my own art, so I might as well just, you know, move on to the next month. What you talking about here? In case you didn't also notice, so apparently making these little tabby, I'm going to call them tabby doos because that's what I honestly call them. These little tabby doos here on the edges has become quite popular with some of the bullet journalers that I follow. I know Plant-Based Bride, who did a daisy theme for this particular month. She had some tabby doos on the sides of her pages. I think I'm surprised more bullet journals don't necessarily come with these, but I could understand why they wouldn't come with these because bullet journals are supposed to be really customizable. And so a lot of people just make their own tabby doos. I tried the tabby doos for April. I actually really liked it because I like to be able to just see whatever week I need, flip to it, and voila, I'm there, instead of having to hunt for it because I'm lazy and I don't like to hunt for things, even in my own bullet journal. So I decided to do it again in the month of May. However, if you look at the week tabby doos, they don't quite match up, and that's because in the middle of the weekly tabby doos, there is a specific tab just for Mother's Day and birthday, because my birthday falls on Mother's Day this year. Aren't I a lucky duck? Anyway, so I decided to do my own little, like, 2-pagey spread, both in honor of my mom, again, Mother's Day, and then of myself, because it is my birthday. And I just kind of wanted to leave some extra space to give myself a little self-care, you know, just have a little fun and make myself my own little spread. In the meantime, the accent drawings here on the first and the second aren't necessarily music related, but one of the particular green aesthetic images that I liked, that I used for my inspiration, was this bit of yarn. And you know, if you've ever looked at a skein of yarn, how they the strands of yarn weave real pretty on them, you know, over themselves because of the way that they're spun into the skeins. That's what these particular lines are inspired by. Not bamboo. I had someone think they were bamboo. They are not bamboo. I can draw better bamboo than that, despite my scribble art. Gosh darn it. Anyway, that's what that particularly is inspired. That way it's a little bit of green accent, but it gives me plenty of room to write. On to the next week. This one, just like last month, I did include one particular image that was one of my inspiration pictures. It'll go there in the bottom right hand corner. I also left myself some extra space to do a weight tracker because I've also noticed, at least in the month of April, other than using that particular tracker for walking and yoga, I haven't really been tracking my habits. So I decided to kind of give myself a little bit of a reprieve. I am not going to be tracking habits for the month of May, but I do still want to keep an eye on my weight. That's something that is just very personal to me, so that is what I will be doing. And then I drew this little green record. I've never seen a green record. I have seen records in many colors. I've seen blues and reds and yellows, golds, silvers, traditional blacks, etc. But I have never actually seen a green record. But I thought it was cool, so I decided to draw it. It looks terrible, but there you go. That's supposed to be a green record. Anyway, so that is one of the green piano images that inspired my green piano. I believe this is actually the one from the Magnolia catalog for her farmhouse aesthetic. If I'm wrong, my apologies, but that was one that really inspired me. This was probably my favorite weekly spread. This came to me off the top of my head. So I decided to draw the top of the piano, and everything that is sitting on top of the piano are going to be my spaces for the days of the week. Some are bigger than others, although to be fair, I honestly don't need that much space to write things. I really don't write excessively amount in my bullet journal. I just need it to kind of keep track of things. If I need a space to write something down, I have that space. And if it ends up going over and onto the piano, oh well, it's my bullet journal, and that's just what happened. Mostly, I just really liked this particular idea of, I had never seen a spread kind of like this. I will say, personally, I should have made the colors of the piano merge across the pages, but, well, hindsight's 20/20. But anyway, so yeah, that's how I decided to do this particular spread. This was, I think, probably the last weekly spread that I actually put effort in, because the two after that were kind of slapdash. You'll see in a minute. But anyway, so that's how I decided to do this particular spread. I will post pictures on my Instagram, the Plateau Perfectionist with underscores in between each word, if you're interested in seeing how this particular spread turned out. So for the last 2 weeks here, I decided to do another Dutch door. I decided to put the keyboard across the bottom of the page here. I cut out a lot of the drawing because I ended up spending like 5 minutes coloring with my S-Gel, and I should have just gotten a marker and filled it in. It would have done a lot faster. And then I just made some extra space for me to write whatever I need to. What is it? Columns? Are they columns or are they rows? I can never remember if it's columns or rows. Long story short, I just kind of threw these last 2 weeks together because, to be fair, I don't actually use these last 2 weeks as much as I used the beginning of the month, just because I have more things that have a tendency to happen at the beginning of the month. But in the meantime, I just kind of made a piano across these 2 pages. Made some boxes here on this last week, which I did include the 31st, so that's 8 days instead of 7. And just kept it real simple. Like I said, I didn't include any habit trackers because I decided not to do track my habits this particular month. I will make just probably a little box to keep track of how my weight is progressing, because like I said, I do keto, and I try to track my weight just to keep myself, just keep on myself about not overeating. Trust me, after Easter and all that Easter candy, it almost did me in, gosh darn it. But yeah, just keep it simple, and I will see y'all in the flip through. Okay guys, I want to just give you all a great big shout out and a thank you for everybody who follows me, who has subscribed. I think you guys are totally awesome, and I really appreciate y'all just taking the time to come watch my videos. I do this for fun. I don't do this to make money. I love making art, and I love to show off my art, so forgive the bad photography, but this is what I can do. In the meantime, if you want to follow me on Instagram, I do have an Instagram. It's the Plateau Perfectionist with underscores in between each word. I'm also on Facebook by the same name, minus the underscores. You can find me here. And in the meantime, I will see you all next month. I hope you'll have a great and awesome month of May. And happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Love y'all. Bye.